Hi, this is Cheryl St.Pierre, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make these chaos accent beads that I used in these coin earrings, simply wrapped coin earrings. And they've been oxidized and then buffed. So what that does is it just brings out the highlights of the outer wrap jobs, and it's more shaded behind, and it gives a more a look of interest. You can let that happen by itself, but I recommend oxidizing and buffing because then it really highlights it really well. And this is super easy to do. All you need for supplies is some scrap wire. Now, this is like 2.5, 3 inches long. It's pretty beat up. Doesn't matter. You can use your really beat up pieces for this. I always recommend saving your scraps for when we can use them. And then some 24 gauge wire that we're going to do the wrapping with. And I've chosen a length of 1.5 feet. I know it's extra, but that's okay. I'll have all the metric measurements in the description. So I didn't do a snapshot for this because I wanted to keep this nice and simple and sweet and short. Okay, so for tools, you will need only your ruler for measuring the wire. Other than that, you don't need a ruler at all. You're going to need your round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, and your snips. So pretty simple. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of your scrap and you're going to make an eye loop. And I'm just going to snip off the end so it's nice and flat, and then go from there. And you really need to be consistent with the size of your loops, so make sure you know your favorite size. That's something that you should just practice and make that loop. And you see how it's straight and not round right there? I'm actually going to snip that away. Oops, like this. And then continue making the loop, because it'll make a more accurate loop for measurement purposes. And just push your round nose pliers back in all the way, and it seems bigger than what I intended, so I'm going to go to my favorite spot, grab it, and bend. Okay, so now it's a P loop. We want to turn it into an I loop. All you need to do is put your pliers back in, close it, and push it like that, and then it becomes a neat eye head pin. So the next thing I want you to do is straighten that out, this direction as well as this direction. Remember, it's going to be covered, so if it gets marring, it doesn't matter. It usually doesn't mar very much anyways. So we like the work hardening. Now, I want you to take your chain nose pliers, and at the widest part, and this will keep your beads consistent. So you can make a whole bunch of these ahead of time, and they should end up the same size as long as you make your loops consistently as well as this measurement. So I'm taking the widest part of the pliers, snugging it up to the loop like that, and I'm actually going to make the loops going the same direction. If you need them going opposite directions, then you can flip it around afterwards. But I'd say for the ease of making your chaos accent bead, go the same direction, because then it, where they're parallel going this way, that way it's easier to measure with the pliers. Okay, got it at my same spot, making the loop, ladder up my pliers, finish the loop, pull it around. Okay, so it's an eye loop, and now I'm taking my fine snips and getting in as close as I can. I've got it pushed against this wire, close as I can to, I'll move this so it stays in focus. And just the tip of the snips. And see, it made a nice clean loop. And you should be able to make these over and over again and have them being the same size. Okay, so you can make, if you want, you can make a bunch of those in a row, depending how many you want to make. Now, I am starting at one end and I'm giving myself a tail, because if you don't give yourself a tail, you can't grip. So you're going to utilize that tail as a handle, and I want to do at least one loop close to it, like that. And I'm actually going to cinch it up just because I want it to be close. Just my preference. And then I'm going to wrap distantly to the other end like this, and then I'm going to crisscross the wire. Crisscross, I mean, like, I want lots of airspace in there. Okay, like that. And then because my tail is so big, I can do this. I'm going to go like this and wrap over it. It's still a handle. And I'm going to just change sides so I can hang on to it like this. And I'm going to wrap it to the end there again, because it had moved over on me. And now I'm going to wrap over top of that wire going this way. And it just causes more airspace. And eventually, I'm going back the other way. Eventually, it'll be so that the wire doesn't flip around on you. And then you can snip. If we're at that point, I'm going to pull on this. I'm going to hold it with my pliers and test it. I should be able to wrap. So I'm going to bend this back and then snip it in the middle. That way we end up with not having a loose end. And I'm going to just crimp it down. And now I'm going to use my pliers to hold this as a grip. I'm going to flip hands again. Flip sides. And go back. Sure, I'm going to be really awkward while I'm on camera. Oh, I'm going to use my fingers. Okay, I just thought you could see better. And go back until you're happy with it. And you know, you want a lot of crisscrossing. You don't want to go too straight. You want it to look chaotic. And you want it thicker in the middle than on the ends. And then when you're happy, one of them I used almost all the wire. This one doesn't, I'm getting more airspace in this one, I guess. And that's good. But it's good to have the wire just in case. So if you're finding that your bead is too straight, there's an easy solution for that. I'm going to just go to an end here. I'm actually going to put the wire through the loop. And then I'm going to snip it off right there and crimp it down. Or you could do a loop so it doesn't have a pokey. That's up to you. Let's see. If I want to do that, I just bent it down and I'm going to have it poke inside. And now I'm taking my chain nose pliers and I'm going to crimp it down inside like that. And then if you want to have it smaller at the end, you just kind of shape it by squeezing the wire a little bit. You might not have to do that. Each bead will be different. And there it is. That's all it is. This wire here moved on me, so I'm just going to squish it down. There. So if you need to flip one of the loops for another direction, I would recommend having either 2 pliers or using the base of your round nose plier like a plier just to hold it in place like that. See, it works as a plier. And then take your other plier and then just twist it. Just twist your loop around, and then you have it the other direction, because you never know what direction you're going to need it. So there it is. That's all there's to it. Thank you for joining me in this little mini tutorial, and we will see you in the next one. God bless. Bye for now.